Hi everyone, Chris here in Shanghai, China. And I have with me the X300 Pro from Vivo, the photographer kit that I'll be unboxing and showing you in this video. My first impressions of the phone, which is powered now by the Dimensity 9500. I'll run through what you can expect out of the design, a look at the screen. I'll even run a benchmark, and we'll have a look at that performance, and most importantly, some camera samples and video samples. So this is the special kit that press got given here that have attended the launch event in Shanghai, which is where I am at the moment filming this. So the X300 Pro photographer kit, I don't believe will come with this presentation in this box. I think this is just for media, but it's a really nice unboxing experience, as you'll see. So lifting up on the tab, you'll see that we've got the X300 Pro right here. There's also the X300, so the non-Pro version. I might cover that in another video. And if you just lift up on these tabs here, and that will then come out. But I want to focus firstly on this here, which is our telephoto extender. So this is where we have that lens that you attach on that we did see something very, very similar. In fact, I think it's almost exactly the same with the X200 Ultra. And what this is giving us then an extended zoom range by 2.35. And you can see, looking here, there's quite a few goodies included and really nice layout and presentation. We have the grip, so very similar to what we have seen before. This is what you then plug into the Type-C port. It locks into place and locks, in fact, into the case, so it's very secure there. And it gives us that two-stage button, and at the top, you have some controls there. So we can use this there for the zoom to start recording, and different options to adjust, for example, maybe the shutter rate, the exposure, or our ISO. From that, you can customize it, I believe. A button here and a little battery gauge too. You can see the three little bars on the side. Now this is made out of plastic, but the build quality is good, and it's a synthetic leather style material on that grip itself, and the button is two-stage, so you can press it in focus, press down again, and you get a nice hardware click-in feel to that, which is very good. So the rest of it here, we've got the ring, which is where the telephoto extender is going to clip onto that. I'll show you that shortly, but it hasn't blocked off the ultra-wide and the main camera either, which is good. And of course, the Zeiss, they're still working with the Zeiss, which is fantastic. Got the T-Star coating on the lenses too as well. There's some adapters here, so they're not just for show. I mean, one is for decoration, but this one here, for example, is for filters. So you can put an ND filter on that on the outside of all three of those cameras. And here it is, the telephoto extender. So I think this looks to me like it could be exactly the same as what we have with the X200 Ultra. We haven't got the 300 Ultra yet. So this is the little cap on the end. See the optics in there by Zeiss, and a little protective cap there that's covering everything, which is excellent. And this is the case. So the case is where it's going to all clip on. It does come with a built-in kickstand, so you just pull down on this, and that'd be great if you're traveling, so you can prop it up, watch videos and whatnot. And the quality of this does feel good. It is made out of plastic, probably to keep the weight down, and of course it does need to be a little bit flexible to get it on and off of the foam. And this is the button there that you press in, and you can slide off then the outer ring, and to put on, for example, this right here, the adapter for the lens. So line up the white line there with a little white dot. Just give it a bit of a wiggle. It is a tight fit here. So that's it now wiggled into place. Turn it, and you'll hear that click, and that is now locked into place. And there it is. It sticks out a lot. So this is adding now 2.35 times zoom to that optical zoom camera. So now that OriginOS is global, this model does have with it Play Store already installed, Google Framework's already there. And here we have the phone, obviously, so I'll just put that aside and show you what we do get. Now, with this model that I got, well, this region, I don't know which region this actually is. It might be that you do get the charger included, but with this one, I don't. So there's no charger, no flash charge, 90-watt charger included, but we get a Type-A to Type-C cable, SIM tray tools right there, and a case. Now, this case is a TPU case, and it is in a light gray color, although with my lighting right now, this is probably looking more like a cream or a beige color, and there's a bit of paperwork. So that is what is included with the X300 Pro. So this is the light brown version, or they just state it as brown. So you got a brown, a black, a blue, and a white. It weighs 226 grams. So the weight of it, it feels a little bit hefty, but it's not a heavy phone. I think it's a standard kind of weight for the size of this phone being 6.78 inches. Now, cameras on the rear, we've got 3 of them there. So they're 50 megapixels for the ultra wide and the main camera. The Zeiss T-Star coating is present. A periscopic 200 megapixel camera, which has an aperture of f2.67. And they call this the Zeiss APO telephoto camera. And then we have the gimbal grade main camera, 50 megapixels. So that is a Sony LYT-828 sensor, and it's f1.57, so quite a bright, quite a fast aperture there for that. A little hole there for microphone, and great to see they've continued that partnership with Zeiss. I'm really fond of the T-Star coating for the anti-flare and reflective properties it does have, and it just helps out at nighttime too with that. So the thickness is 7.99 millimeters. The location of that power button is in a very good position, I feel. No problems with that. And an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. So just what we had before, ultrasonic. So it's very good. It works every single time. My time testing it out, I've had no problems with it. So the screen is LTPO, 120 Hz is the refresh rate, HDR10 plus, Dolby Vision, and testing it out in direct sunlight, absolutely no problems. It's bright, it's clear here in Shanghai. Haven't had any problems with it. Looking at the design here, that 50 megapixel front-facing camera is the same as the ultra-wide. So it is a JN1 sensor. The aperture is the same, so it's f2.0, can shoot 4K video with that front-facing 50 megapixel sensor. So the SIM tray will take 2 nano SIMs. The Type-C port does support video out, and this is USB 3.2 with that. You can see the antenna lines, dual loudspeakers, and overall very good finish to it. Great build quality. And as I said before, so 7.99 millimeters. So not quite 8 millimeters, the thickness, but the camera does protrude out a little bit, as you can see there. NFC on board and IP68, IP69 for your weatherproofing. Upper left side of the phone, we have this shortcut button here, very handy. So you can press and hold this to go through the different modes, so ring mode, the silent mode. And if I double tap here, you'll see that that is going to turn on, if I do it correctly, turn on the flashlight there. So it's a handy button that you can configure. If you go into the options, which I've just done right now, you can see you can change that action. So I could decide to go along and set it up for something else. You can set it for recording, notes, shortcuts for applications, all sorts of things, which is very handy to have. So the camera kick case is on, and I'll show you how you line up the grip here. So there's the Type-C port, there's the locking mechanism. You can see those little grooves either side of the case. So you just need to line that up, and I'll try and do that now on camera and click it into place. There we go. So that is locked into place there. If I want to remove it, you've got to press this little button here. So you push that just forward, and you can pull it off again, and I'll put it back in. So it is easy to do this, but you can't use it without that case. Now you can take the whole lens off, and you'll be able to then use it just like normally without having this bulk, of course, in the way. But it's great, the camera grip here. So the professional camera grip, they call it. So I can start recording right there. This I can set to, as I mentioned before, something like, say, your shutter rate or ISO. And here we have the zoom and then the shutter button right there. So it is comfortable, fits on, feels well. It doesn't seem to wiggle around or anything like that. It doesn't feel like it's going to drop off, and it's going to give me that confidence there to start shooting. And now I can see professional camera grip. It's come up. It's telling me the battery life of it there. So at the moment, I've got 80% battery. And now let's just see what it's like. I'll just quickly point this. Although, yeah, it wants me to go over to the telephoto extender. So let's just turn that on. And looking at these cards here, I can press and hold to focus, press again to take a photo. And the shutter rate seems to be good. There's a little bit of a delay there, but that's hardwired. So it's not connecting up via Bluetooth, but via the Type-C port. So there's a tiny little gap there for a hand strap, which is included in the box for the grip, Type-C port, and yes, a mounting point there for a tripod. Now I'll plug it in and we'll see if it will charge the phone at the same time. So there you can see the status LED, it's charging the grip and the phone. Let's have a look. Hang on, I just accidentally triggered something. Yes, the phone is charging too as well. So you can charge the phone and the grip at the same time via that Type-C port, which is handy. OriginOS is now global, so that means Fun Touch, goodbye, gone for the global versions. and we have just the OriginOS now for both the Chinese and global markets, which is great. I think this is a move that should have really happened years ago, but hey, good to see that they've done this. Now, the performance so far of that UI OriginOS 6, this is just first impressions, is very good. Gestures are working fine, and everything is fast and fluid. What you'd expect from a Dimensity 9500 device here. So 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of UFS 4.1 storage on board. And I'll just show you a couple of settings in here. So under display, there are some extra options that we do get for the screen resolution and whatnot that you've come accustomed to see, of course, in Android devices. They're all here. Now, one of them is this. So the display, you can put it onto the resolution on UHD. Now, it's a little bit misleading because UHD does mean 4K, ultra high definition. And that's what they're calling it here. But this is 1260p. And that's on by default. You can drop it down to 1080p if you wanted to. And that would give you a little bit more battery life. Now, the refresh rate is normally on smart adaptation. So that's going to go from 60 even drop down to, I believe about 1 hertz the refresh rate, because this is an LTPO display AMOLED that we've got, but I've forced it onto 120 here just to keep everything exactly the same. That's how I like it. And those are the real only options we get with the screen. Now, the brightness of it out in direct sunlight here in Shanghai, it's been fine. It has been a little bit smoggy and misty, kind of cloudy, overcast, but the sun did come out in a few brief moments, and I did manage to capture this of it. You can see that the screen is bright and you can make out everything, which is what you want. Now, you'll see that I do have Antutu installed there. I'm going to run that now and show you the result. And here we go, the result. Just over 3 million points. This is a huge jump up from what we've seen before with the X200 Pro. You see the bulk of that improvement is the GPU there. So great performance from the Dimensity 9500. And the internal storage, that 512 gigabytes, UFS 4.1 spec, I believe it is. Finishing up now, you can see that the sequential reads, almost 4,000. Sequential writes there, 3,500, really good. And the random access speeds, both reads and writes, quite high there too. And that is the final score, getting over 200,000 points in Antutu version 10 that I'm running. So over to the cameras now with the Vivo X300 Pro. So this is a JN1 50 megapixel front facing camera. f2.0 is the aperture, 4K at the moment. You can shoot 4K 30 and 60 with this front facing camera. Now I do have it set to the 1x preset, but there is a 0.8 and that gets a little bit more in the shot, so a bit wider, which is very good. And of course the audio you're listening to is being recorded on device here with the internal microphones. There's no wind or anything, so it should sound pretty good. There's some background music being played in this mall, and I have it 2x, which, whoa, that's a bit too close there zooming in, especially with my jet-lagged face. So this here is our ultra-wide with our Vivo X300 Pro. Now this ultra-wide's 50 megapixels. It's a JN1 sensor. That's f2.0. So main camera. Now Vivo does state that this has gimbal grade main camera. And what do they mean by that? Gimbal grade with stabilization? Well, short little jog. Seems to be quite steady. I'm not too sure about gimbal grade. I mean, having a gimbal with a 3-axis movement is really great. And this is a 2x digital preset now with it. And then 3.5 times optical. Stabilization does seem very good. Now with our optical camera here, it's 200 megapixels, and they call this the ultra sensing sensor. It's an HP8. This is f2.67. Now I can take this up to 10 times. Let's have a look at 10 times here at the sign. Handmade there. Back to the 1x camera. Sorry, there we go. 1x. And that 50 megapixel ultra wide. So the main camera, that's also 50 megapixels. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. I'm very jet lagged here. I've only slept like about 2 hours in the last 48 hours or so, which is, yes, I know, not great. That's what travel's about. I don't really sleep on planes, but a lovely shopping center here in Shanghai. Onto the camera, so 50 megapixel selfies, they are looking good. Good stitching. I'm using the natural Zeiss preset here with the colors. This is just a guy that I took a snap of. This is the 200mm zoom equivalent, so that's both optical to 3.5, the rest is digital.
And this is 3.5 times optical zoom with a professional model indoors with very good lighting, but great results as expected in these kind of lighting conditions. Ultra-wide shots from the 50 megapixel JN1 sensor are looking good. I wish it was a bit wider, however. This is 15 millimeters. I would love to see a bit wider, maybe 13 millimeters. That's just a personal little nitpick of mine with Vivo's ultra-wides. So from that same standing position, I took a shot with the main camera, which is 24 millimeters now. Last year's was 23 millimeters. This is the 3.5 times optical zoom. It's a periscopic camera. It's 85 millimeter equivalent. I then took it up to 10 times. So that's a combination of optical and digital. Still looking good here. This is without the telephoto extender kit. Now with the photographer kit, which is adding on that 2.3 times optical zoom camera on top of the 3.5 times optical zoom, you can see before was the 200 millimeter. This is now 400 millimeter shot using it, and then take it up to 800 millimeters. Still plenty of details there. And then we're getting to kind of crazy zoom levels here. 1600 millimeter focal equivalent. Look at all those details. So great potential here with these zoom cameras. And with this shot testing out the zoom, this is from the hotel window, which the window's not very clean, but 800 millimeters and then 1600 again. This time you can see there is a bit of blur present. Now that is probably because maybe I moved slightly, or it could be the fact that the hotel window is a little dirty. This time around didn't look quite as good as that other sample. And this is a quick sample now of portrait video. So portrait video now goes to 4K 60 frames per second, which is a nice addition. That is up from the 4K 30 frames per second from before.
So my first impressions of this phone so far are really good. So it's a potent camera powerhouse here of the flagship phone from them, and very similar setup to what we saw with the X200 Ultra. I do have a video of that in the channel with basically the same here, telephoto extender kit here. So the photography kit, I do believe this will be coming out globally as well. I don't see why it wouldn't. Why would they only release it in China? Because now OriginOS is also global, so no more fun touch. Now I have noticed that with OriginOS 6, that some of those kit widgets, for example, the ones for the camera where you could go straight into the periscopic zoom camera, seem to be missing so far. Some of those widgets, maybe it's because there are still going to be some differences between OriginOS global and OriginOS China-based, because this has got Google Framework installed, comes with Google Play Store already there because it is now a global version with it. Now, the way that the handle, the camera grip clips onto this, very good, very solid. There's no flex in it. I can easily hold it with one hand. Yes, it's very heavy. The weight of having the lens on there, it's bulky. It's not really practical. It's not designed to be. It's all about just getting really good zoom performance now, having this extender on there, the telephoto extender. So there'll be some more testing from me up and coming with this. And if you want camera comparisons, the X300 Pro versus, say, the Huawei Pure 80 Ultra, maybe against the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra or the iPhone 17 Pro Max, let me know in the comments. Or if you've got some other phones or suggestions, let me know what you'd like to see camera comparison-wise against this. Very, very, I think, potent looking setup here. So far, that is it. I can't really give you much more because I'm jet lagged. I've only had it for a day just testing it out. But I hope this video was helpful and you learned a little bit more about the Vivo X300 Pro.